John Carter stood at the edge of the colony dome, looking out at the alien landscape of Proxima. The red light of Proxima Centauri cast long shadows across the rocky terrain. After 5 years of planning and 8 years of travel through the cold emptiness of space, humanity had finally established its first home among the stars. Beautiful, isn't it? Lisa Morgan joined him at the viewing panel. As the colony's head biologist, she spent most of her time in the agricultural domes, working to ensure the survival of Earth plants in this new world. John nodded. Hard to believe we actually made it. 200 people, 4.2 light years from Earth. Horizon Colony, Lisa said, tasting the name. Seems fitting. The colony was a collection of interconnected domes and underground habitats built to withstand the harsh conditions of the alien moon. Despite its challenges, Proxima had proven more hospitable than anyone had expected. The atmosphere was thin but contained oxygen, and the soil could support modified Earth crops with the right treatments. Director Carter. A voice called from behind them. Kevin Phillips, a young engineer with a perpetual look of worry on his face, approached with a tablet in hand. We have some strange readings from the Eastern Sensor Array. John took the tablet and studied the data. Looks like electromagnetic interference. Probably just solar flare activity from Proxima Centauri. That's what I thought too, sir, Kevin said. But the pattern seems regular, almost like a pulse. Natural phenomena can create regular patterns, Lisa pointed out. Remember those pulsars we detected during the journey? Kevin nodded, but didn't look convinced. I'll keep monitoring it. Good, John said, handing back the tablet. Better safe than sorry. As Kevin walked away, John's communicator buzzed. Carter here. Director, we're ready for the harvest ceremony. It was Frank Martinez, in charge of colony operations. Everyone's gathered at the main agricultural dome. We'll be right there. The agricultural dome was the largest structure in the colony, filled with rows of plants growing under special lights designed to mimic Earth's sun. The colonists had gathered around a table laden with the first true harvest, vegetables and grains grown entirely on Proxima soil. John stood before the assembled colonists, pride swelling in his chest. Friends, today marks a major milestone for Horizon Colony. This food represents more than just nourishment for our bodies. It represents our first step toward true independence in our new home. The colonists cheered and applauded. For 8 generations, our ancestors dreamed of reaching the stars, John continued. For 3 generations, they built the ships that would carry us here. And now we stand on alien soil, growing Earth food, breathing recycled air mixed with Proxima oxygen. Lisa stepped forward with a loaf of bread made from the first wheat harvest. She broke it into pieces and began passing them around. This moment belongs to all of humanity, John said, but especially to each person here who risked everything for this mission. Unknown to the celebrating humans, their colony was being observed. Half a mile beyond the sensor perimeter, unusual growth patterns in the native vegetation shifted slightly, turning toward the colony. The strange plants didn't move with the wind but with purpose. Deep within their cellular structure, microscopic receivers transmitted data to a location far beyond the colony's detection capabilities. In her lab later that evening, Lisa frowned at her microscope. The native plant samples she collected showed unusual growth patterns that couldn't be explained by natural evolution. The cell structures were too regular, almost engineered. That's strange, she muttered to herself, making notes. Outside the colony, the electromagnetic disturbances intensified. The patterns Kevin had noticed grew stronger, pulsing in perfect intervals that no natural phenomenon could explain. Humanity's first colony was not alone on Proxima, and soon they would discover just how unwelcome they really were. 3 months passed since the first harvest at Horizon Colony. The settlement had grown stronger, with new buildings rising from the rocky soil of Proxima. The colonists had settled into routines, almost forgetting they were the first humans to live on an alien world. That morning, Alicia Wright was checking the security systems when all screens in the control room suddenly flickered. As head of colony security, she had been trained for many emergencies, but nothing like this. "What's happening?" she asked, turning to her team. Before anyone could answer, the main view screen lit up with an image that made everyone freeze. A massive ship, unlike anything built by human hands, hung in orbit above Proxima. Its surface glowed with strange symbols, and its shape reminded Alicia of ancient sea creatures from Earth's oceans. "Get Director Carter," she ordered, her voice steady despite her racing heart. John Carter arrived minutes later, face serious as he studied the image. "How long has it been there?" "Our sensors just detected it, sir," one of the technicians said. "But from its position, it might have been hiding behind the moon's larger satellite." Suddenly, every communication device in the colony activated at once. Speakers crackled with sounds that hurt human ears, clicks, whines, and deep rumbles that seemed to vibrate the air itself. "What is that?" Lisa Morgan covered her ears as she entered the control room. Kevin Phillips was already at a console, fingers flying over keys. I think it's a language. They're trying to communicate." The painful sounds gradually shifted, morphing into broken English words. The aliens were somehow learning their language by accessing the colony's computer systems. "Humans." The voice was flat and mechanical. "You occupy forbidden space. This moon belongs to Xorathi by ancient right. You will leave." John stepped forward. "This is Director John Carter of Horizon Colony. We come in peace. We didn't know this world was claimed. All worlds in this star system are Xorathi territory. Your presence defiles sacred ground. You have 10 of your Earth days to depart." The communication ended abruptly, leaving the control room in stunned silence. "What do we do?" Lisa asked, looking at John. "We can't just leave. We have nowhere to go." John's face hardened. "We're not leaving. This is our home now." He called an emergency meeting with all department heads. Frank Martinez from operations, Lisa from biology, Kevin from engineering, and Susan Bell, the colony's expert in languages. "Earth is too far away to help us," John explained. "Even at light speed, our messages take years to reach home. We need to handle this ourselves." "But what do we know about these Xorathi?" Frank asked, struggling with the alien name. Susan spoke up, her voice quiet but firm. "I've been studying the communication patterns. They speak in hierarchies, always establishing rank before sharing information. I think they're a highly structured society." "Can we negotiate with them?" Alicia asked. "I'll try," John said, "but we should prepare for the worst." Over the next 2 days, John sent message after message to the Xorathi ship. Most went unanswered, but occasionally, the aliens responded with the same demand: leave or face consequences. On the 3rd day, Kevin burst into John's office. "Director, I've been analyzing their technology based on our sensor readings. Their weapons systems are far beyond ours, but their ship shows signs of long-term wear. I think they've been traveling for a very long time." Before John could respond, the colony's alarms blared. Outside, the sky filled with smaller Xorathi vessels, descending toward the colony. "Everyone to emergency stations," John ordered through the colony-wide system. "This is not a drill." At the edge of the colony, the strange plants Lisa had been studying suddenly uprooted themselves, revealing complex mechanical components beneath what had appeared to be roots. The Xorathi had been watching them all along. As the alien ships drew closer, the colonists faced a terrifying truth. Humanity's first contact with alien life would not be peaceful, and their survival was now at stake. The Xorathi attack began with precision strikes against Horizon Colony's outer structures. The communications array exploded in a flash of blue light, cutting off the colony's link to Earth. Next came the sensor stations, methodically destroyed one by one. "They're blinding us," Alicia Wright said, watching the security feeds go dark. "Taking out our eyes and ears first." John Carter nodded grimly. "Standard military strategy. But why not hit the main habitat domes?" They could kill us all in minutes. In the biology lab, Lisa Morgan worked frantically, examining the plant-like objects that had been disguised as native vegetation. Under her microscope, she could see tiny machines woven into the cellular structure. These aren't just surveillance devices, she told John over the emergency comm system. They've been analyzing our biology, our technology, maybe even our psychology. Can you use that against them? John asked. Maybe. I need time. But time was running out. 3 sleek Xorothy ships landed a mile from the colony perimeter. From them emerged tall, slender figures in shimmering suits. The aliens moved with unnatural grace in Proxima's gravity, covering ground quickly as they approached the colony. They're coming for us, Frank Martinez said, watching from the operations center. What's the plan, Director? John had been preparing for this moment since the first Xorothy ultimatum. Activate Defense Protocol Delta. All non-essential personnel to the underground shelters. Throughout the colony, people rushed to their assigned positions. Some families descended into the deep bunkers carved beneath the surface. Others manned defense stations hastily set up around the perimeter. Frank had converted mining lasers into makeshift weapons, while Kevin Phillips had rigged the colony's power grid to create electromagnetic pulses that might disrupt alien technology. The first direct confrontation happened at the eastern entrance. 5 Xorothy approached the airlock, holding devices that pulsed with strange light. When colony security personnel ordered them to stop, the aliens responded with a burst of energy that melted through the outer door. Fall back, Alicia ordered over the comm. They're breaching the east entrance. 2 security officers didn't make it. Their screams echoed through the comm system before it went silent. The colony had suffered its first casualties. Inside the main control center, John made a difficult decision. Seal off the east section. We can't let them reach the central habitat. Kevin's voice came over the comm. Director, I've been studying their attack patterns. There's something strange about how they're fighting. What do you mean? John asked. They're following a specific sequence, always attacking in groups of 5, always targeting certain systems first. It's almost like they're following a ritual rather than a tactical plan. This information gave John an idea. Can we predict their next move? I think so, Kevin replied. Based on the pattern, they'll hit the water reclamation system next, followed by the power core. Then we'll be waiting for them, John said. As night fell on Proxima, more Xorothy ships appeared in orbit. The colony's long-range sensors, before they were destroyed, had detected a larger vessel approaching, likely the aliens' mothership. In her lab, Lisa had made a breakthrough. The plant technology responds to certain frequencies, she told Frank as he helped her build a sonic emitter. If we broadcast this sound, it might disrupt their surveillance network. Frank nodded, his hand steady as he worked despite the distant sounds of fighting. If they can't see us, maybe we can surprise them. Meanwhile, Kevin discovered something in the Xorothy communication patterns that could change everything. Hidden in their transmissions were references to the elders and sacred duty. The Xorothy weren't acting independently. They were following orders from someone else. As a new wave of attacks began, John gathered his team. We're not just fighting for our colony anymore, he told them, his face illuminated by emergency lights. We're fighting for humanity's place among the stars. During a brief lull in the attacks, Frank Martinez brought something to the emergency command center. It was a damaged piece of Xorothy technology recovered from one of the fallen aliens. We managed to capture this before they could destroy it, Frank explained, placing the strange device on the table. It looked like a smooth stone with glowing blue lines running across its surface. Susan Bell, the colony's language expert, studied the symbols etched into the device. These markings are different from the ones we've seen on their ships, almost like. She paused, her eyes widening. Almost like they're quoting something. Religious text, maybe. Kevin Phillips connected the device to a computer, carefully avoiding direct contact with the glowing lines. There's data here, lots of it. As they downloaded the information, A holographic display suddenly activated, showing strange scenes. Xorathi bowing before much larger, differently shaped aliens. "What are those?" John asked. "I think," Susan said slowly, "we're looking at the Xorathi's masters. They call them the Elders." Working through the night, Susan decoded enough of the Xorathi language to understand their basic motivations. The news wasn't good. They believe this moon contains the essence of their ancestors, she told the colony leadership. To them, our presence here is like someone building a shopping mall on a cemetery back on Earth. But people have been living on Proxima for generations, Lisa pointed out. Not people, John said, realization dawning. The Elders lived here, and the Xorathi worshipped them. With this new understanding, John formed a small team to investigate an area the Xorathi seemed particularly protective of. A rocky formation 10 miles from the colony that their sensors had previously classified as natural. John led the expedition himself, taking Lisa, Frank, and 2 security officers. They traveled in a rover modified with Kevin's electromagnetic shielding to hide from Xorathi sensors. What they found changed everything they knew about Proxima. The natural formation was actually the remains of an ancient structure, partially buried by centuries of dust storms. As they cautiously entered through a gap in the walls, their lights revealed a vast interior space, with technology far more advanced than anything humans or Xorathi possessed. "This is incredible," Lisa whispered, her light revealing symbols similar to those on the Xorathi device, but more elegant, more complex. In what appeared to be a control room, they found a large circular platform covered in dust. When John accidentally stepped on it, the whole room hummed to life. Holographic displays appeared, showing star maps and diagrams of Proxima Centauri's solar system. "Look at the date markers," Frank said, pointing to symbols that Susan had taught them to recognize. "If I'm reading this right, the Elders left this place over 50,000 years ago." But why? John wondered. Lisa, who had been examining biological samples from the site, looked up from her portable analyzer. "I think I know. These readings show evidence of a massive solar flare, much bigger than anything we've recorded. It would have made the surface uninhabitable for centuries." As they explored further, they found something even more surprising: preserved tissue samples of the Elders themselves. Lisa's analysis revealed something shocking. Their DNA structure, it has similarities to ours. Not identical, but close enough that we could be related somehow. Before they could process this information, Frank called them to another chamber. There, etched into a wall, was an image that made them all stare in disbelief. A map showing Earth, with clear markers indicating visitation. "The Elders knew about Earth," John said quietly. "They might have even visited it, long before human civilization began." Their discovery was interrupted by an alert from the colony. The Xorathi had launched another attack, bigger than before. But now, armed with new knowledge about their enemy and this ancient site, the humans had a chance to change the course of the conflict. John Carter and his team raced back to Horizon Colony as smoke rose from the eastern sector. The Xorathi attack had intensified, with 3 new ships joining the assault. "We need to get to the command center," John told the others as their rover sped across the rocky terrain. "The information we found changes everything." When they arrived, they found Alicia Wright organizing the defense. Half the colony's outer structures were damaged or destroyed, but the main habitat domes remained intact. "The Xorathi are attacking in waves," Alicia explained, pointing to a map of the colony. "They hit us, retreat, then hit again from a different direction." John shared what they had discovered at the Elder Ruins. "The Xorathi aren't fighting to take territory. They're fighting a holy war. They think we're defiling sacred ground." "Can we use the ruins as a defensive position?" Alicia asked. John nodded. "That's exactly what I was thinking." While Alicia prepared an evacuation plan, Frank Martinez gathered a team of engineers to convert more of the colony's equipment into weapons. Mining drills became ground-penetrating charges. Farming tools were reshaped into spears and shields effective against Xorthi armor. In the communications center, Nancy Cooper, the colony's AI specialist, worked on a different kind of defense. If they follow religious patterns in their attacks, those patterns can be predicted, she explained to Kevin Phillips. I've created an algorithm that analyzes their previous strikes to forecast the next one. Kevin watched as her program processed the data. This could give us a critical advantage. Meanwhile, Susan Dell prepared for a dangerous mission. Direct communication with the Xorthi leadership. If the aliens believed they were following the will of the elders, perhaps the truth about the ancient civilization could change their minds. I need to speak their language perfectly, Susan told John. One mistake could make things worse. Do your best, John said. We'll try to buy you time. As night fell, the colonists put their plan into action. They began a carefully organized retreat toward the Elder Ruins, making it appear as if they were abandoning the colony in defeat. The Xorthi followed, just as Nancy's algorithm had predicted. Frank's team had positioned traps along the retreat path. When the aliens triggered them, explosions lit up the night sky. The low gravity of Proxima sent debris flying farther than it would have on Earth, creating a chaotic battlefield that negated some of the Xorthi's technological advantages. At the ruins, John had established a defensive perimeter. The ancient walls, built to withstand the solar flares that had driven away the elders, provided better protection than anything the colonists could have constructed. Hold this position, John ordered. Make them think we're cornered. As the Xorthi closed in, Susan transmitted her message, not to the ships in orbit, but directly to the ground forces. Speaking in their own language, she challenged their religious interpretation, explaining that the elders had abandoned Proxima by choice, not because of human interference. The attack faltered as confusion spread through the Xorthi ranks. Some continued fighting while others hesitated, uncertain about their holy mission. Taking advantage of this moment, Kevin activated a series of electromagnetic pulses designed to disrupt the Xorthi communication systems. The aliens' coordinated attack broke apart into isolated skirmishes. For a few hours, it seemed the humans might win. But then the massive Xorthi mothership moved into position directly above the ruins. Its weapons powered up, glowing with energy that could vaporize the entire area. They're done playing games, Alicia said, looking at the sky. The colonists had no defense against such power. As the ship prepared to fire, they retreated deeper into the ruins, into underground chambers that had protected the elders for millennia. The first blast hit with devastating force, collapsing the upper levels of the ancient structure. Cut off from the surface and with limited supplies, the humans found themselves in what could be their final sanctuary, or their tomb. Deep beneath the surface of Proxima, the survivors of Horizon Colony huddled in the ancient chambers of the Elder Ruins. The ground above them shook with each new blast from the Xorthi mothership. How long will these walls hold? Frank Martinez asked, touching the strange, smooth material that made up the underground structure. They've already survived 50,000 years, John Carter replied, though his voice betrayed his uncertainty. Let's hope they last a few more days. While most colonists rested in the main chamber, Lisa Morgan explored the deeper sections of the ruins. Her scientific curiosity remained strong even in this desperate situation. With a portable light and her sample kit, she ventured into tunnels that hadn't seen visitors in millennia. In a small chamber far from the others, Lisa discovered something extraordinary. The walls pulsed with faint blue light, responding to her presence. When she placed her hand against the surface, the glow intensified. John, Kevin, I need you down here now, she called over her communicator. When they arrived, Lisa showed them her discovery. The walls contain living organisms, some kind of bioluminescent life form integrated into the structure itself. Kevin approached cautiously, studying the glowing patterns. It looks almost like circuits, but organic. Watch this, Lisa said. She placed her palm flat against the wall. The light spread from her hand, forming patterns that resembled DNA strands. It responds differently to me than it did to a sample of Korathi blood I collected during the battle. John touched the wall himself, and the same reaction occurred. What does it mean? I think, Lisa said slowly, the elders built these structures using living technology that can recognize specific genetic patterns, and for some reason, it responds to human DNA. Kevin's eyes widened as he made the connection. The similarities between elder and human DNA that you found earlier, what if the elders didn't just visit Earth? What if they seeded it? You mean we might be their descendants? John asked. Or they modified early humans somehow, Lisa suggested. That would explain why this technology recognizes us. As they discussed the implications, the wall where they had placed their hands began to split open, revealing a hidden chamber. Inside was what looked like a control room, with crystalline structures arranged in patterns around a central platform. Kevin approached the platform cautiously. This technology is far beyond anything we've seen, even from the Korathi. When John stepped onto the platform, the entire room hummed to life. Holographic displays appeared, showing the surface above them, the Korathi ships, and strange symbols that shifted and changed. I think, Kevin said, studying the displays, this might be some kind of defense system. Through trial and error, they learned to control the system. The symbols responded to their movements, allowing them to activate dormant elder technology throughout the ruins. Meanwhile, Nancy Cooper had joined Susan Bell in analyzing the elder language from the data they had gathered. There's a repeating phrase in their records, Susan explained. Something about inheritors or successors. They were waiting for someone, Nancy realized. Someone who could use their technology. Someone like us. With this knowledge, John made a bold decision. Using the Elder Control System, they activated a planet-wide network that had lain dormant for 50,000 years. Energy surged through the ancient ruins, spreading across Proxima. Above ground, the Korathi mothership suddenly found itself unable to move, caught in an invisible field of energy. Smaller ships lost power, drifting helplessly in orbit or coming to rest on the surface. Lisa monitored the readings on the elder displays. The system isn't destroying them. It's just neutralizing their technology. Because we don't want to destroy them, John said. We just want them to listen. Using the elder communication system, they transmitted a message to the immobilized Korathi fleet. The elders have chosen their inheritors. We invite you to talk. 3 days after activating the elder defense system, John Carter stood at the entrance of the ruins, watching as a Korathi shuttle landed on the dusty surface of Proxima. The shuttle's design was elegant but simple compared to their warships, suggesting it was a diplomatic vessel. Are we ready for this? Alicia Wright asked, checking her sidearm one last time. As ready as we'll ever be, John replied. Remember, we're not looking for revenge. We want peace. Susan Bell joined them, carrying notes on Korathi cultural protocols. Their leader will expect to speak first. Let them establish their position before we offer ours. From the shuttle emerged 5 Korathi, including one wearing elaborate ceremonial armor. Without their helmets, the humans could see the aliens clearly for the first time. Tall, with skin that shifted colors like an Earth chameleon, and large eyes adapted for the dim light of Proxima Centauri. I am Zurich, voice of the Korathi Council, the leader announced in carefully practiced human language. We come to hear your claims about the elders. John stepped forward. I am John Carter, director of Horizon Colony. We welcome you to discuss our shared future on this world. The meeting took place in a chamber where both the elder technology and human equipment could be displayed. Lisa Morgan presented her findings about the biological similarities between humans and elders, while Kevin Phillips demonstrated how the ancient technology responded to human DNA. The evidence suggests, John explained, that the elders visited Earth long ago. They may have influenced human evolution, or even shared their genetic material with our ancestors. Zurich and the other Korathi conferred in their own language, their skin changing colors rapidly as they spoke. a form of emotional expression Susan had explained to the humans. Finally, Zurich addressed John again. For generations, we have protected the sacred places of the elders, waiting for their return. Our ancient texts speak of the returned, who would reawaken elder wisdom. We believe this to be ourselves. Perhaps, Susan suggested, the prophecy referred to both our peoples. Different parts of the elder legacy, preserved in different ways. Lisa showed them samples of Proxima soil before and after human agricultural techniques had been applied. Your people have preserved the elder sites, which was crucial. But our farming methods are actually healing the damage done to this moon's ecosystem during the massive solar flare. Two parts of the same mission, John added, protection and restoration. As the talks continued into the night, the religious faction of the Horethi examined the elder texts discovered in the ruins. Their translator, a being named Callan, made an announcement that changed everything. The symbols for the returned can also be translated as the distant children. We have misinterpreted our own sacred texts. The elders did not promise to return themselves. They promised that their children would come from the stars. Over the next few days, a fragile peace took hold. The Xorethi withdrew their warships, but left observers to monitor the human colony. John ordered all weapons to be stored away and invited Xorethi scientists to work alongside human researchers. 1 month later, as John stood with Zurich, watching the human Xorethi team plant new crops using a combination of both species techniques, a message arrived from Earth. Colony ships had been launched years ago as follow-up to Horizon's mission, and would arrive within months. More humans are coming, John told Zurich, but this time they'll arrive as friends, not invaders. Zurich's skin rippled with blue and gold, colors Susan had identified as indicating acceptance. The stars have room for both our kinds, the Xorethi leader said. That evening, John recorded a message to be transmitted to Earth. Looking into the camera, with the light of Proxima Centauri setting behind him, and the silhouettes of humans and Xorethi working together in the distance, he spoke words that would become famous across human space. Humanity has found its first allies among the stars. After they tried to destroy us.